no agenda, no format, 42 minutes or less of anything goes.
I believe there's a hero in all of us.
You have great powers, only some of which you have as yet discovered.
I'm a superhero,
a real-life superhero.
The world needs extraordinary. We will make you a superhero.
Are you ready to become the hero?
Initiating surprise in 3.
This
2
is
1.
The Real Brian Show.
You know, we're both nerding out on so many things this week. I'm excited. Like, for example, when are some of these new shows and movies coming out? You know, we've been talking about, we've had a little bit of a dry spell lately, so we've got a list for you. And you know what? I'm excited to hear what you're nerding out on, so please tell us. I would really love to know what's going on.
Kay, he's back! The light giver! All hail Kay! All hail Kay! Oh, Kay, can you see?
Let's rock it! Welcome to the Real Brian Show. Thanks for joining us. All hail Captain Influence and the Real Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Captain.
And the Real Brian Show.
You see, that doesn't really work, does it?
Brian. No.
Brian,
okay, can you see? Worked really well. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see?
That was a Men in Black, right?
Yeah. You know, it just randomly came to my mind, and I thought, I got to play this one. It's a good one. It's been a long time since I've heard that. When's the last time you've even watched a Men in Black movie?
15 plus years at least.
It feels like it's been forever for me too. I mean, I saw Men in Black International, which I enjoyed. It wasn't nothing's as good as the first one, but the second one was actually really good too.
It was good, yeah. And I never saw the International, so
it was good.
I just haven't, not because I didn't want to. I just hadn't gotten around to it. So
yeah. You know, it's worth watching. Don't expect it to be as good as the first two, but it's good. It's still fun.
Good,
anyway.
Yeah. There's so much out there though. There's so much to watch.
Yeah, we're
even lately when there's been a dearth of stuff coming out, I've just been watching lots of stuff.
I'm still catching up on way too many things right now too, because like I'm still getting through Orville and I'm still getting through the end of Ms. Marvel, and I think I've got one episode left on that, I guess. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, there's so many. I'll talk about these in a minute. Actually,
yeah, that's a movie that's got a lot of good reviews, right?
Yeah,
Everything. Yeah. I've heard about it. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it.
Yeah,
so.
I'll give a quick little synopsis in just a second here, but before we do that, dude, I got to say happy birthday to Miss Light, Sarah, aka my wife. For those of you who don't know who she is, today. Well, actually, it was Wednesday, but you know, this whole week we celebrate basically all month. That's kind of how we do things around here.
Yeah, well, I like that because why not? I mean, my wife and I also celebrate birth month as well, so we give extra we get extra back rubs, and stuff like that. So yeah, I hear you, man. Is she one of those perpetual "I'm always 35 forever" type ladies, or?
No, I don't. I mean, none of us enjoy aging. I don't think anyone enjoys aging, but you enjoy aging until you get to like a certain age, and then it's just kind of like, whatever. But you know, it is what it is. I don't like apologize for my age or anything, but you know, it's also like, well, it's just what it is. But no, I don't. I mean, she's you know, she just accepts who she is.
Good. So if I asked Miss Light how old she was, she wouldn't
She'd tell you.
She would tell me. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I am one of those who enjoys aging.
You
like
are?
getting
Okay.
older. Yeah, I like getting older because I'm one of those guys who's going. You know, there's always the old dudes that are like, "Oh, I remember when I was your age." Da 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 da.
Get off my lawn.
Guy.
You're gonna be that
not
guy.
like that. I'm that guy. I just love reminiscing to people who don't know. Yeah. I like reminiscing to people who don't know what things were like back when I was a kid, but even though even the back of my head, I know they don't care. So
that's not necessarily
that's one of my
true. Some people, you know, so like I always found it fascinating when I was younger that somebody would say, you know, in 19 whatever, this is what it was like, and I'd be kind of like, really? Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I didn't know that, you know. So I've appreciated the lesson, I guess, the history lesson and stuff like that. You know, like my granddad this was fascinating to me, but of course, you know, I think we're both World War II buffs. I know you're more history in general too, but he talked about how he got to go to East Germany before the Berlin Wall fell. And so this would have been in the 60s actually, and how he was there. And he said, you know, West Germany was beautiful. And, you know, we're 20 years out of World War II, something like that. And then they crossed over the wall through the wall to get into East Germany. And he said it literally looked like Nazi Germany, World War II, like the war had hit, ravaged it, and just didn't change. Nothing changed. It was like
interesting.
It was like walking back in time 20 years to World War II. Like they just didn't. It was bizarre. I mean, so he was explaining that to me when I was growing up. I mean, granted, this is you know, third hand kind of stuff, trying to pass it on, but it was really like, I don't know. I was so fascinated by like how that could be.
If an old timer was telling me about some interesting time, like during the war, or you know, some other world event that they were a part of, like I could recall to my nephews and nieces someday, I was alive during 9/11 and I remember exactly where I was when that happened, and we watched it all day and da 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 da. I mean, not that that's very exciting. It's not World War II, but
well,
and
it's still a huge. You know what's amazing to me though is that most of the people in college right now either hadn't been born yet when 9/11 hit, or like we're just born. But I got to thinking, oh my gosh, has it been that long ago? Yeah, we're at 21 years this year, dude. 21 years. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. Yeah,
it's a 2 with some number after. It's okay. Once it gets into the 3s and 4s, you know.
I just blows my mind.
Like our high school reunions.
Yeah. I don't know. It is kind of funny to you know, look at that. But you know, the thing is that I don't consider myself old, and I don't think old. I mean, in fact, I can't tell you how many people keep calling me like you're literally like a grown man acting like a kid, essentially.
Yes.
So, and I am. I mean, I really am a kid at heart. But I believe in that too. It's not just like an immaturity thing. Like it's an actual belief that if you allow yourself to emotionally and mentally get old, you might as well just die, kind of thing. You know, there's maturity and there's responsibility, of course, and there's, you know, having social skills and other things like that, obviously. So I'm not talking about that, but I'm saying, you know, losing that kid at heart is so important. I mean, like you can't lose it. It's so important to hold on to that because, you know, playtime, relaxation, laughing at things. It's interesting.
And I think it might be, I'm not saying this is definite, but it might be easier for you and I, who we just happen not to have had children. For when you don't have kids, you aren't forced into that role of parent, you know, and we all remember, it's almost like a, not necessarily genetic, but learned, you know, when you learned how your parent behaved towards you, and then you kind of translate that towards how you behave towards your kid. Not that it's identical, but there's a level of responsibility that you take on as a parent that you and I just have never had to deal with. So it's easier, I think, for us to remain kids at heart than it is for somebody who's had 5 kids or 2 kids or whatever, and they're raising them properly.
Because I've known parents that have remained kids at heart too, you know.
Yeah,
and I've known single people who have, you know, given up and become an old crotchety person, 1 foot in the grave kind of thing, you know. That are younger than us. So
I didn't mean to say that if you have kids, you're not going to be a kid at heart. I'm just saying I think it's easier for those who haven't been forced into that transition of responsibility, that level of responsibility to maintain that childishness almost.
I also think though it's really an attitude, because I mean, I know so many people right now that are just so consumed with all of the negativity in the world that whether they have kids or not, I can't imagine they're enjoying life at all. Not even once, you know. Maybe they're drinking their sorrows away. I don't know. But I just don't see happiness a lot right now. And it is a choice. That's the thing. Like, so I feel like
it kind of is,
we've chosen to, well, I don't watch the news. I don't want to know what's going on anymore. And anybody that starts talking about current events and political stuff and other things, I'm just like, nope. Bye.
Yeah, you and I don't talk about current events very often. We
did
game a lot. Yeah, we are in conversation multiple times a week.
Constant,
and we almost never talk about political stuff.
Yeah, once in a while we'll bring up something because it's current in the sense of like we're getting bombarded with it. So it's more of like, okay, how do we handle this? How do we process through it or whatever? You know, that's a different story, but we're not like negative about it or heavy with it or anything like that. And and
I would argue that those things we talk about are not technically political topics. They are topics that have been politicized, but they're not political. So
true.
Or geopolitical, you know?
Yeah. Oh, hey, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. For those of you watching the new background, here it is. You can see it. If you're listening, you're going to have to come on YouTube and just do this. But basically, I've got my old keyboard behind me now. The chicken, of course, is right there. I get really turned around when I'm pointing at things. So I've got my Harry Potter artwork, basically books/movies 1 through 4. Of course, Arrow, Firefly, all the little displays. Of course, my dad built this shelf actually right here. They were doing some woodworking stuff. And I mean, it is a solid shelf. It's very, very heavy. And so we're like, yeah, let's do this. And it's not very deep either. It's just, a little bit, just get some stuff up there to display everything. Looks really, really nice. But man, it's been
deep
fun.
Shelves.
Yeah.
By Brian's dad.
No, this would be shallow
Didn't go
shelves.
over well.
I don't know.
Deep shelves.
Deep shelves. Yeah.
Anyway.
With the real Brian's dad.
Guess what I've been watching the crap out of lately?
Tell me.
Community.
Yes.
Community. You've gone on and on about it all these years, and I think I might have mentioned this on a recent show that I started watching it, but I have been binging that show like crazy in the last few weeks.
So cool,
it's
dude.
so much fun. It's just a fun show. Yeah. Really, really good character development. Really, just the style of humor is so addictive and it grabs you, and you just, and the episodes aren't very long, so it's easy to just go through like 3 or 4 at a time. So yeah, I'm almost through season 3 now.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah.
So yeah. So
I love you, drugs.
Anyway, thank you for that recommendation over the years. I finally picked it up and just kind of ran with it, and it was awesome. So
Troy and I've been in the morning, dude. I'm so glad you're watching it. In fact, I think I was even saying I was feeling a little almost jealous that you're going through it for the first time, experiencing it. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember going through that show for the first time, just like, oh. I love that show. I still go back and have it in the background, kind of on watching it. Just one of those things where I love it. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. It's a beautifully done show. I mean, of course, not every episode is amazing, but they've done some good stuff.
Every episode's fun, regardless, and
Sure.
it's on Netflix if anybody's interested. It's
highly worth it.
Dan Harmon, is that the guy's name that did it? Yeah, he's a genius. So
he really is when it comes to character development, humor, storytelling, and then absolutely bizarre, off the wall. He's a child at heart.
Yes, very
Holy
much
cow.
so.
Yeah,
yes.
man. Yeah. What a crazy dude.
And he probably has kids.
That's good. I don't know.
Yes, I don't know either.
Yeah. Hey, well, I'm glad you're watching Community. I mentioned Orville, I think it's been a few weeks ago now, and I was kind of like, episodes 1 and 2 were a little slow, and I liked them, but I really liked Strange New Worlds better and stuff. I finally got, here's the cool thing about Orville, by the way, is that the episodes are at least an hour or more each, and there's 10 episodes. So I've been watching them in sections just because it's hard to sit down for an hour and 15 unless you're going to a movie or whatever. But what's been fun about it is that episodes 3 and 4 were fantastic. Like I was going, oh, okay. Yeah, this is where the season starts to take off. I really enjoyed it. They've done an amazing job with it. They hit topics that you're just like, wow, really? Okay. So I like it. I'm saying now that, the first episodes were a little bit of a slow burn. And I'm also, with respect, for those of you who know what's going on, I'm getting a little bit kind of tired of the Claire storyline. I like Claire. I loved the development that they had with her. And I feel like they're just kind of like, okay, let's move forward now. I feel like it's just kind of in this holding pattern, so I'm like, okay, keep going. I want to know more about Claire, but let's move on to something else a little bit. So they did that with Bortus actually in seasons 1 and 2. It was kind of like, yep, same thing. Okay, let's move on. Let's do something else here. And so that's what they've done with episodes 3 and 4. It was a great development. It progressed the story. And it harkened back, so they've done a good job. I'm just trying not to give any spoilers and everything. And I mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once. I started watching that. That's another movie that I'm taking in bite sizes because it is one freaking trip, dude. I'm like, what is going on right now? I'm incredibly confused. It's really, really, really good. Very well done. And what really blew my mind is Short Round, or Data, depending on which movie you're thinking of, Short Round Indiana Jones or Data from Goonies. He's in it as an adult. And
Awesome.
I was like, wait, what?
Oh, wow. Has he been in anything since Indiana Jones Temple of Doom?
He did a couple things.
I think that came after Goonies, didn't it?
No.
Or
I think Goonies, Temple of Doom was like 83 and Goonies was 85, I think. Give or take.
Yeah.
So he did some stuff, as a kid and all that, but there was a big, I think almost a 2-decade lull between him doing stuff. And then he just started acting again. But first of all, I'm like, this voice, it's a really high-pitched voice. So I was like...
So still?
Yeah. And I got to thinking, this sounds kind of weird, but I'm like, but it kind of sounds familiar. And then I'm looking at his face and I'm like, he looks familiar, but I can't place him. And then all of a sudden I was like, it's Short Round. Oh my gosh. And then I looked it up and I was like, it is. So
that's awesome.
He's fantastic, actually. I was blown away. He's fun to watch. It's Michelle Yeoh.
She is so cool.
Yeah. And then
Holy
the guy,
cow.
and I don't know his name, but he's been in so many movies. He was in Big Trouble in Little China. He voiced some stuff in Diablo. He's been in a lot. He's the guy that talks like this. Or, well, that's terrible. I was like,
Not
is
the
that
Indian guy, is he?
Is there anyone out there? I can't do his voice, but he's very, very famous. And he's getting, I want to say he's in his 80s at least now.
He's got to be. He was old back then.
He looked old, but he really wasn't. But no, I mean, he's definitely... he's one of those wonderfully older actors that are still going, and probably will go until they just literally can't anymore. But he's fantastic as always. He's in everything. I can't even think of all the movies he's been in over the years.
Everything, everywhere, all at once, right?
Literally, yeah. It's a great, great cast. I'm really impressed with it so far, but it is very confusing. And after I finish it, I'm gonna have to go and rewatch it or go online and be like, what the heck just happened?
But in spite of the fact that it's confusing, you're still enjoying it. That's good.
Yeah. So just to give a little background, this isn't going to spoil much, but it does involve multiple universes, multiple timelines.
Okay.
So,
is it streaming or is it in the movies?
I own it. I don't. It's now on streaming. Yes.
Oh, okay. Got it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I see.
But it's definitely it's a multiverse trip out. That's about the best way that I can put it, because there are some things that go on that I'm like, what? How did they come up with this?
It's
fun
without seeing it, and maybe has nothing to do with this, or has no relation at all as far as similarity. But when people are describing it, it sounds like the movie Cloud Atlas. Do you remember Cloud Atlas? It had a bunch of famous people, including Tom Hanks, and it was based on this book. But it was this really weird, like multi-dimensional maybe thing, like different timelines that came together at the end. It was very strange, very confusing. Yeah. Similar?
I've heard of it. I never
I'll
saw
let you know.
I don't know though. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, go check it out. It's worth watching so far. I'm about halfway through. So, and I wanted to share this too, because there's a lot. We have been chatting, and I mentioned this earlier. We've been chatting about like what's coming. And
yes,
I think you and I were even talking. It's like, all right, well, Strange New Worlds is done, and Obi-Wan's done, and Stranger Things is done.
Sad.
And it's just
Strange New Worlds is done. Dude,
I know, and
I
it's
wish
like
I could just keep going.
Yeah, it's like Orville is still going. Ms. Marvel's done. I'm just trying to think of there's a lag right now. And then of course Thor's already out. Top Gun's out. Let's see. Nope. The movie Nope, the new Jordan Peele movie, is out, and it's gotten really good reviews if you're into horror and that kind of thing.
Okay, that's weird that you said that, because I heard somebody say that, maybe it was Rogan might have said this, that it was getting bad reviews or mediocre reviews. Somebody I heard recently said it was not getting the best reviews, which was interesting because it was advertised very well. According
to IMDb, it's relatively decent.
Okay.
It's not like 8 or high. It's like a 7 something, which is still good. Mm-hmm. That means it's like, it's worth watching, but it may not be as excellent. Whatever. I'm not into that. Well, I loved Get Out. Jordan Peele's Get Out. That was a really good psychological thriller. It was not a horror to me. It was a thriller. And I like thrillers. I don't know what Nope is like as far as, are we on the thriller or the horror side of things? Is it sci-fi or is it,
it's definitely sci-fi, but you're right. Whether it's horror or thriller, I don't know yet. Yeah. So,
and then Elvis. Now that has been getting good reviews.
I've heard.
Can't think of his name. He was in, wasn't he in the Shannara Chronicles? Yeah, he was. Apparently he's doing an amazing job as Elvis from what I've heard. Okay. So that's good. But here's what's coming. Are you ready, Captain?
I'm ready.
Okay. I looked up some stuff just to see. Now, there's a lot more. I'm not going to go over everything everywhere all at once. What I decided is just to go through some of the funny highlights. Let's go with that. Good and funny ones. The first funny one would be Beavis and Butthead, the new show. That's a limited run. That's coming out August 4th, actually. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Oh, geez. August 4th. It's just next week. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so awesome.
You have to go to Paramount Plus, Beavis.
Or something.
You have to watch it on that one. Okay. The Sandman, and I think this is the comic, the Marvel comic. I believe that's what it is. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman wrote it? Did you know that?
I didn't know that either. No, I did not.
That surprised me.
Wow. Neil Gaiman is a very prolific author, for those of you who haven't heard of him. And he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a really cool guy. And so he wrote American Gods. He wrote a Norse gods book about the legends of the Norse gods. And he if you ever get the audiobook, he narrates it.
That's cool.
I think he tends to narrate his own books, like American Gods. I think he did that one too. Anyway, Neil Gaiman's awesome.
Well, so and just to be safe, or just to be fair, I guess would be the word. Neil Gaiman's involved somehow. The question is, did Neil? Yeah. Okay. The 1989 to 96 comic book Sandman series was written by Neil Gaiman, published by DC Comics. Oh, it's a DC. Okay.
Yeah, I knew it was DC. I just didn't know Neil was involved. So that's really cool.
Because there's a Sandman that fights Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yep.
So that's who I was thinking of. This is the DC Sandman. Okay. So even better, because and it's Neil. Okay, well, there you go. So that comes out on August 5th as well. So that's a day after, but that's on Netflix, by the way, which is also very interesting. Usually those are not on Netflix. So I'm excited to see if that's going to be good. Resident Alien returns at season 2, by the way. They did a weird 6-month hiatus or something in the middle of season 2. So season 2 returns.
So it's season 2.5 now, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I'm not sure why they did that, but that's August 10th on Sci-Fi. But
I think they first did that. They pulled the first time I saw them pull that stunt was the reboot of Battlestar Galactica in 2004 or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They did that where they broke off mid-season for like several months and then brought back the rest of the season. It was, and I'd never seen that before then. So
yeah. They started doing that more often. I don't mind a little bit of a hiatus, but that's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. Now, they did have a little bit of closure at the last episode of Resident Alien, and so when it comes back, at least it's not going to be... It's a cliffhanger, but we're not... Yeah, it'll be fine.
Right.
So that's good. So that's August 10th. I think I mentioned that on Sci-Fi. She-Hulk. I'm interested on that one to see if that's going to be good or not. We'll see. August 17th on Disney+.
I'm curious, but I'm not looking forward to it. We'll see.
I'm in the same boat. I'm not like, yes. I'm more like not like a yes.
I want it to be good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Stargirl. I'm a big fan of Stargirl. Season 3. That is August 31st on CW. Now here's one, of course, you're excited about, which is surprising me. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, September 2nd. Dude, that is just over a month away. I am blown away right now.
I hope they don't screw it up. I really hope they don't screw it up.
You know what? Okay, here's one thing I'm glad about so far. Most of the actors are people I've never seen before.
Okay.
And I'm happy about that because we're not going to have these weird type casts, that we're... So, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I really am. Now, here's an interesting one. This is not a reboot. This is a sequel of Quantum Leap from the... That was the 90s, right? Yeah, Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
No, was that 90s or was that like...
It was the 90s.
Yeah, it was.
I think so. Early
it
90s.
Was, right? So Quantum Leap, dude, I'm excited to... I wonder if Scott Bakula's coming back for that one.
Yeah.
I wonder.
We know Dean... what's his name?
Yeah.
Can't because he's dead.
Yeah.
But Scott Bakula, it'd be neat if he had a cameo. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Or at least, was part of it somehow. But yeah, that's interesting to me because now if they had said they were doing a Quantum Leap reboot, I'd probably check it out, but I wouldn't be excited. But if they're doing a sequel, I'm like, oh, okay, now that, and it almost makes me want to go. I've only seen a handful of the original episodes, but it makes me want to go back and watch through all the seasons now because the concept of Quantum Leap was freaking fantastic. It was very, very interesting and genius and original at the time. And it was cheesy.
It was.
But it was really funny. So that'll be cool. So that's in September. And at this point, I'm just doing, dates or months now. Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2 is in September. Black Adam, which is the Shazam, that whole Shazam mortal enemy. It's The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's in October. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is in November. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about yet. I don't know. I need to look it up. And then we'll see. New Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which I'm very excited about. I cannot wait for that one.
There's a sequel to Shazam. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that for 5 years now, I think. So that's December.
Whoa, it hasn't been 5 years since the first Shazam came out. There's no way.
2017, man. Or maybe it was 2018. I don't know. It feels like it's been forever. Let's find out because I'm actually curious now.
Yeah, find out because I thought it was just a couple years ago.
Oh, it was 2019. Dang, it feels like 5 years ago. These last 2.5 years have been long. So that's what's coming out. I'm excited about a lot. Actually, there's some good TV shows coming out. I'm still watching through some stuff too. I still have other shows that I should watch. It's like I have them, but I haven't checked them out yet. And then I don't know if you knew this, but have you ever watched the Umbrella Academy? Did you ever watch any of those?
I still have not. You know why, Brian? I have a really dumb reason why, and I might have mentioned this before.
You maybe tell me.
I don't like chimpanzees.
No, you've never said that before.
I thought I had.
That's
It's
awesome.
a dumb reason. When I see the advertisement for it, the little thumbnail on Netflix, usually, often, not always, but often it's a chimp. And that turns me off. I'm like, I don't want to watch that. It has a chimp in it. I don't want to watch it. Monkeys and apes don't, for some reason, they just are not something I enjoy watching. I don't know why. There must be. I'm sure there's some psychology there.
Oh my gosh. Monkeys and apes and chimpanzees are not alike, but we do not support chimpanzees.
Yeah, like
we don't like chimpanzees. We don't support them at all.
Yeah, we're anti-chimp.
Yeah.
No, in Community, when they have that little monkey named Annie's boobs. Can I say that? They named the monkey Annie's boobs.
Yes.
It's this monkey that lives inside the vents in the college. Whenever he shows up, I'm like, oh God.
This is so funny. Like,
I know, it's like we all have these little things
you
that
hate
are turn-offs for
chimpanzees
us.
and monkeys and stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm gonna get a pet monkey when you come over next time.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
So unfortunately for me, the Umbrella Academy I've heard really good things about, and it's supposed to be a pretty good show in spite of the fact that there's a chimp in it. And I just haven't bothered watching it yet because of that. So there you go.
Wow. I can't. This is so funny. I got to tell you, I did not know that about you, but I'm blown away. Well, I'll tell you what, the chimpanzee effect is not very often.
Okay.
So the good news is that you don't have a lot of episodes with the chimpanzee.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
And so
I think eventually I'm going to pick it up, and just like Community, I'm going to pick it up and be like, oh wow, I'm glad I finally watched this. So,
oh my gosh. Well, what I was going to say is that season 3 is out on Netflix of the Umbrella Academy, and I'm getting ready. That's another one I gotta get into as well. It's on my list, but oh my gosh, dude, I hate chimpanzees. So yes, apparently here at the Real Brian Show, we are anti-chimpanzee.
Well, I am. I don't know about you, and that's not even fair. I'm not
Captain
anti
is.
anything, to be honest.
Oh,
I just,
you are, dude. Just embrace it.
I'm turned off by.
You don't support monkeys and chimpanzees.
Simians. Yeah.
Simians. Yeah. You don't support them.
Although, hey, that's not this is a little bit contrary to that. I loved the Planet of the Apes movies. I loved them. So how do you slot that in that psychology, right?
I don't get that.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Well, is it because they're like humans turned into apes, sort of thing?
No,
these weren't. These were apes. Never mind.
The new ones were CG. Yeah, like Andy Serkis played.
The
main,
yeah. But I'm thinking
chimp.
of the old one. So
he was a chimp.
It was chimps that were evolved into human-like.
Yeah, they were evolving into being like humans. Yeah, so for those movies were done so well, in my opinion, that it overrode that bias that I have.
Interesting. So, I think you would like the Umbrella Academy because it does do a lot of mockery with the whole chimpanzee kind of thing too. There's a reason behind it. It is actually pretty funny. The movie is very irreverent, which I think is what you would like about it. I'm sorry, the show is very irreverent. Yeah. Yes, it's a 3-season show. It's crazy. I
love irreverence. So.
Yeah, well, you would love it. It's one of those very bizarre shows that you're just like also going like, what is going on right now? And there's a lot I like about the show. It's bizarre. That's all I got to say, but it's fun. I'll tell you what. I got to share some. Well, okay. First of all, just really quickly. First of all, we were supposed to go see my cousins actually this last week. We were going to go visit them and all that, and we didn't. Because there was a little bit of sickness in the family and some other things. So we had to postpone, which, hugely bummed. I wish we could have been together. We would have really had an amazing time. But we got to have a really good week here. But then my other cousin, Emmy, this is the 8-year-old. Mm-hmm. She's like, you keep mentioning Clara on the show all the time. Why aren't you mentioning me? And I'm like, well, first of all, I did mention you. And I talked about, when she called and said she wanted to pray for me when I found out I had COVID, Mm-hmm. I was like, I did mention you and all that, but here we go. I guess here's the thing, she is an amazing person too. And so we got to game together this last Saturday. We were playing Battlefront, and she and I got teamed up against the other three people that were there. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. She's awesome. I would like to say that we are a formidable force to be reckoned with, and we would have won that game. We would have won the game, except they got Darth Vader and an AT-ST, and we were just two troopers. What are we supposed to do against that? Completely unfair, very lame.
Run.
I still say that our magnificent skill and battle prowess would have hands down won that match. So there you go, Emmy.
Well, good. I'm glad you had fun Saturday. Johnny and I just kind of hung out while you were doing that. So
I'm glad you had fun though. I needed to do that. It was fun to hang out with them, because we were supposed to be there. So I was like, well, we'll get to hang out, and we actually gamed for a long time.
Yeah.
It was a very long gaming session, which was a lot of fun. But a lot of it too is just a lot of messing around, and there's a lot of energy and laughter and talking and that kind of thing, and trash talking and all that good stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Captain, I got to say huge special thanks. Lord Thunder, thank you very much. Very, very much. We talked about doing the keyboard fund, working on getting this Arturia so that I can eventually put it behind me and be able to start, composing and recording and stuff and all that. What's been kind of cool though is, 7 Blue 7 inspired the whole, Ryan, why don't you put up a buy me a coffee so people can just throw $5 or $10 or whatever at you and, help towards this fund and stuff like that. And also it goes to support the show too. So that's part of it.
Right.
But anyway, Lord Thunder jumped in and bought 10 coffees for me or something like that. I didn't know that's how it worked, by the way, too. I'm like, Lord Thunder bought you 10 coffees. I'm like, I'm going to be jacked on caffeine. But
awesome.
I was like, how does this work? So anyway, thank you, Lord Thunder. That was very, very nice. I did return that Arturia mini lab thing that I was telling you about, the little 25 key one. Yeah. I was just like, first of all, after getting back on the piano, playing with, real full-size keys, I'm like, this is like playing on a doll piano.
Right.
Not that I would know what that...
Those little ones are really just to facilitate music creators who are not pianists, who want to use the keys to make certain noises and sounds and, synthesizer style, right? I mean, isn't it really just isn't it kind of like a synthesizer? And whereas you need something that you can actually play on, Yeah.
Well, so... as I've mentioned before, some of the artists that have put out very famous songs that might have a little piano part or a synth part or whatever, they use stuff like those little mini labs or the Akai. Right. There's various brands out there that have the little 25 key controllers. Yeah. And so they are cool for those things. But I did discover another thing, and it's also Arturia. They put it out, and it's also 25 keys, but it's called a Microfreak. That's the name of it. Which I'm like, that's an awesome name.
Microfreak. Is it microfreaky?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, my cousin Paul sent me a video from a guy who does a bunch of stuff with recording, and he got 4 basically artists / producers together. And the only thing that they could use was this Microfreak. It's a synthesizer. So it's an actual synthesizer, and it has all the controls basically on top that allow you to do all kinds of really funky, cool sounds and all that. And then what's really neat about this keyboard is that there's no actual physical keys. There are keys, but they're all little sensors. So if you look at them, you can see like little chips and, lines for what it looks like a giant microchip, throughout piano keys. And so it senses your fingers. I don't know if it's through warmth or fingerprints or what. And it senses
electric
there's something.
Field.
And it also senses pressure. So the harder you play, the louder it is, that kind of thing too.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's a cool concept. What's interesting about that is that, the mini lab that I had was a keyboard controller, which is essentially a mini version of the 88 key one that I want. The Microfreak is an actual synthesizer that has all kinds of different things that it can do that, the other one couldn't do. And so their task on this video was the 4 producers would say, okay, you can use this Microfreak and you have to compose something and record something only using this synthesizer. And so they did this challenge and all that. And the girl, her name is Rachel K. Collier. I'd never heard of her before. But she did a song and I was like, this song is so good. And she even did like a little vocal part. You can plug in a microphone and record a vocal, like it's what they call a vocal encoder. Huh. So you can change your voice around and do all kinds of cool effects and everything. You can actually you can go and turn it into a hi-hat, for example. And
interesting.
It was so fascinating. It was one of those videos. I mean, it's about 20 minutes long, and I was just glued to it going, this is so cool. I didn't know this is how it worked. And so some really, really good music came out of that. But that would be something that I could say, okay, I'd get my 88 key and then somewhere down the road, maybe invest in a synthesizer like that. Because I have been absolutely mesmerized by the new Odessa album. Just came out, I think this week actually. And I was watching, again, how they write their music. I was doing some backstory. And I had talked about, by the way, the name of the album is called The Last Goodbye. And I had mentioned that song a few weeks ago with Betty LaVette. What I did not know about this song, and this is what drew me in to learn more about Odessa, is that The Last Goodbye by Betty LaVette was sung and recorded in 1965. And it never really went anywhere. I asked my parents if they had heard of it, and they didn't know either. And it was not famous. And so they found this song in this original recording, and they took that recording and they sampled pieces from it and then wrote a whole song around it and then put it out. Well, then you see Betty LaVette, who is now 75 years old, singing it, basically saying like, oh, no, I'm singing it. And she's so just incredibly excited that this has happened with a song that she wrote all those years back.
Wow.
Such a cool story. And then I found out there's a huge story with A Moment Apart, which was the first Odessa song that I discovered about 4 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, wow. And so I've been diving in more to Odessa. And I mean, this new album, by the way, is so good. It's so diverse. It's interesting. But watching how they do stuff and then, watching just their synthesizers all over their walls and, on their different stands and stuff like that, I was just like, okay. So this is how they do this. Like, I've been wondering how they create music like this. And it's got like that, sound that they do. And I'm like, how did you do that? It's a synthesizer of some kind. So
yeah,
it's been fascinating. I mean, I've been diving in deep into this, nerding out on everything. And so getting close. So again, thank you, Lord Thunder. Thank you, 7 Blue 7. I mean, I am progressing. I've been actually doing some extra work trying to get this thing because I want it badly. I'm going to start recording because I've been playing a lot, dude. I've been practicing a lot. I got to play at church again for the first time in like 9 years, which was awesome. I mean, it felt right. It was so nice to be playing in front of people again and all that. And, but just nice to be playing, it was just a really wonderful experience again. And it's nice that I'm able to, because I feel like there was a pretty long period of time where it's just like, I wanted to play, but I literally couldn't. Something was holding me back. It was really weird.
Yeah.
But it's like,
well, I'm glad you got your muse back.
So. Yeah, dude, it's been time. So, but speaking of music, let's do, since we're talking about it, let's just really quickly, you've got a couple new songs you wanted to share.
Believe it or not. Yeah. So, I have, I've talked about this before. I'm really into like chill wave, neo 80s type music. It's stuff that sounds like it should be in the 80s, but isn't. It's new. And two of my favorite chill wave artists I've been listening to a lot again. One is Brother Tiger. His name's Brother Tiger. It's one word. And he has two songs that just came out recently, Dancer on the Water and Arizona.
Nice. I like Brother Tiger, by the way.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah,
really
great.
Good 80s style musician. And then Chain Gang of 1974, which I've mentioned multiple times. This song called Hide Tonight. You like it. I can't get enough of it. I can't stop listening to it. It's just so
it's a great song.
Ethereal and cool and just, it's just beautiful.
Nice.
So those two, and if anyone's interested, I know I never plugged this, but I do have a playlist on Spotify called the Captain Influence playlist. If you're interested, check it out. It's open to the public. So
and that, by the way,
that has all my music on it.
It's linked in the show notes and it's on YouTube. It's linked in the description below too. So definitely check that out. And it is worth it. It's a great list. And I've got my list, and then of course we have our TRBS 2022 list and other years too. We've put that in there as a, hey, just here's what we talked about this year or last year or whatever. And I'm going to have both of those songs that Captain Influence talked about. Also, I'm going to pick a new song from the Odessa album because there's one. It sounds like John Denver. It's not, but it sounds like him, and I really like it. But it's mesmerizing, so I'm going to throw that one in there as well, just to But check out the whole album; it's amazing. And then the other song that I wanted to mention. It's by I've never heard of this. It's a husband-wife duo, and it's called ACS. And it's not spelled that way. It's spelled AESEAES. And I was like, but it's ACS. And it's actually a joke because they are a husband and wife duo. They started a Twitch stream called A Couple Streams. So A couple C streams S ACS, and so now and then they spelled it out. I was like, that's kind of creative. Actually, I love that. They did, and I found this by accident. They did an incredible cover of Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, which has been, going all crazy with Stranger Things and all.
Right.
And of course, I love the original, but I've heard a lot of covers lately because people have been going a little crazy with covers, and most of them are okay. This one is like, it's so different enough because it's like really chill. It's almost like this cinematic soundtrack chill style with this really mesmerizing female voice. And you're just like, okay, this was good. So I'm going to throw that on the list too. Yeah, you'll love that one. But yeah, hey, well, thanks for joining us. I mean, we could go on a lot longer. I know we've got more. We're gonna save your origin for next week. We've got more things to talk about. I mean, it's just we got crazy in the beginning, but thank you seriously for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. But we can't leave without the most important thing in the world, which is something to do with your mother, Tony.
Deep Thoughts with Captain Influence.
If pudding tasted like it sounds, would people still eat it? Depends on whether popped pimple pudding turns you off or not.
That sounds good.
It does sound good, actually.
You know what the music means?
Yes, I do. And I'm not telling you what it means, but I know what it means.
I'm not going to say anything either, but what I would recommend is go to the show notes, go to the description below, subscribe, leave us a comment because we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know what you're nerding out on. Also, have a great week. Thanks for joining us. The Real Brian Show is signing off.
The Real Brian Show is a production of 514 Media at 514mediaempire.com.